People often ask me if I do studio visits, because a lot of artists have open studio policies. And my usual answer is no, because I find there are so many distractions these days with my work that if I had an open studio, I'd never get anything done. But I decided maybe one way of getting around this is to make a short film, which is like a sort of guide of my studio. And having just got a camera, this is going to be my first piece of filming. So if it's a bit juddery, a bit jittery, don't be surprised. And I thought, what better place to start than with my studio door? I've worked in many places. When I first left college, I worked in a corner of my bedroom. And when I first moved to here, there was a caravan in the garden which I couldn't work in when the wind blew strong, because it would shake and rattle. It was like trying to draw on a train. Then I had a small studio in a room in the back of the house, and a couple of years ago I decided that I was going to have the attic converted into a studio. Things went a little bit awry as we discovered that the roof was in some need of repair. But in taking the roof off, we discovered that could have more space. So now I have a studio that runs the length of my house. And on my door, I keep bits and pieces of things that have inspired me, pictures that I like, strange bits of jewellery, until it's become a bit of a chaos and a mess of pictures and small pieces of things. By the side of the door is an old type tray, which also is full of little bits and pieces of things that people have given me, things that I like. It's a growing collection of gathering dust. When you first come in through the studio door, there's a chair in front of you. It's a lovely chair that seldom gets sat in. This is my posh chair that the cats aren't allowed to sit in, because the cats don't come in my studio. If they do sometimes try and sneak in, but what they usually do is they walk in my paints, and then they walk across my paintings, because they think that everything looks better with cat paw prints. There's a window recessed into the wall, and in that window there's a lovely tile that was given to me by a lady in a bookshop in America. There's also an Amanda Popham sculpture, and there's a very, very beautiful Tamsyn Abbott stained glass piece of Selkies, which has a picture of my cottage in it and the rock behind the hill. Out through the window you can just see the blackthorn where the birds sing. And if I just pan around from here, you get some idea of the length of the studio. Just go slowly, slowly past my desk, and don't worry, I'll come back to that in a minute. Down to the other end of the studio, up the steps. So this bit here is where I do most of my painting. It's my desk, where my owl sits and watches me. And I have brushes, paints, and let's get a bit closer. Lots of palettes using different colours. My paints are Winsor & Newton artist quality watercolours. I love these because the colours are so pure, and I usually work with 2 pots of water, both of which are clean at the moment because I haven't been using them. One pot is to wash brushes and the other pot is to use to mix with the colours so that I don't get mucky colours. And this is my tangle of jewellery, and in amongst that there is amber, which featured in the Ice Bear book. There's beautiful, beautiful earrings by Hannah Willow, And there's a lovely necklace which was made for me by Sarah Lloyd Morris. And this, if I just pan up here, slowly, 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 is my owl who sits and watches me when I'm working. But he, oh, sorry, come into focus, dear. He's also featured in quite a few of my paintings. And he's very still and very stuffed. On my desk at the moment, there's a big picture of the moon, and this is a dummy book for I Am Cat, which is the next book that I should be working on. And if I pan out, you can see, oh, there's my case of weasels, which is my stuffed weasels that were used in my nursery rhyme book for Pop Goes the Weasel. And then the ceiling is also covered with bits of pictures and things like my contracts and stuff that reminds me of when my deadlines are going whistling past my ears. What have we got? Let's have a look. Many, many things. Pictures of tigers, pictures of bears. There's a beautiful photograph here by Jackie Syme. Stunning. And just pan around that way. There's cheetahs and pandas, because the book that I should be working on after the cat book is a book of pandas. And hidden away in the corner there's a cover for a Robin Hobb book on the wall. And some hairs on my easel. And you can see the length of my studio there. So here, this is one of my plan chests. 30 years of work. I've got so much work tucked away in plan chests. Some of it very tidily and some of it that would make an archivist howl. On top of this plan chest is Hannah Willow's hair oracle, in the middle of which sits a Jeremy James ceramic sculpture of a hare. Just over there is my healing bowl that I'm having so much fun playing with. And a beautiful tile by Iris Millwood from Poetry Tiles. Beautiful piece of raku that she did from a tiny sketch that I must have put online some time ago. And then there's also my sewing machine that was given to me by a friend of the family that I used in the nursery rhyme book for 4 Tailors Came to Catch a Snail. And I love this. I love the gold tooling on it, which I'm not sure whether it's a transfer or whether it's painting. And if you look, let's just zoom into this piece here. This reminds me so much of Alan Garner's Owl Service, where there were flowers and owls. Beautiful. The other plan chest has on top of it a polar bear, a phone that rings very loudly, another typewriter, and my beautiful kingfisher, stunning little creature, which is also in the nursery rhyme book. And beautiful, beautiful dragon that was made for me by Evelyn Watt, who now wears a tattoo. She's the first person to have a tattoo on her that I drew. She lives in Australia, and she took it to a tattoo artist in Australia who drew it on her body. It's a very strange connection to have with somebody. This is a view out of one of the windows, except today it's really foggy, so you can't really see very far. There's a ridge of hills up there, but you can hear the jackdaws, who are nest building in the chimneys over at Glyn's house next door. And there's a public footpath that runs along here, and a hedge of blackthorn trees, which at the moment has tiny, tiny beads of blossom on. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. hear the sheep and the feathers of the blackbirds. And sometimes this hedge is just full of birds. This space here is where I do my thinking when I'm indoors, and it's basically I usually sit down to think in this lovely warm spot and wake up about 2 hours later pretending that I've been working, and occasionally I have been. Sometimes I even wake up with a bright idea, but that's where I tend to do a lot of my sketching. And then the last bit of the area is here. This is where my computer lives, on my desktop, which is a nightmare, but I quite like it. And trying to work on this film. Got the camera handy. And if I just pan around this way, some curious little corners in my studio. There's a couple more Jeremy James sculptures, and there's another owl here, and a bird's nest, which is a beautiful piece of natural architecture. It fell out of a tree and I picked it up and carried it home, and it's a tangle of bits of bracken and horsehair and sheep's wool. Beautiful little thing. On the other side of this shelf here is a collection of skulls, and this is a gannet skull, little paper boat, badger skull that I found just outside a badger's house. And this here, I think, is a hoopoe or hoopoi skull. And Some Little Men by Jane Muir. And that's what my studio looks like. It's a beautiful sunny day everywhere else, but we're shrouded with fog. And this is the view out of my other studio window, which I'll film again when it's lovely. But I just wanted to show my Weathervane, which was made for me from a story that I've written by Karen Green from Green's Veins. And this flies over the house like a guardian. Every time I see it when I'm driving up the road, it makes me smile. You see it swaying in the wind. When it's really windy, it swims like a fish in the wind. I'm really lucky now with the workspace that I've got, but I still maintain that it's not your physical space, but your mental space that allows you to work. People create images and stories in the most dire of circumstances sometimes. I'm so lucky. It's like such a luxury to have such a big space, and I hope I use it well. But it is the headspace that's the most important, and although I have beautiful views out of my window, once I'm inside, locked up in my work, it's a different space that you travel to altogether. But always, day and night, I have the copper bear and his woman flying over the house, looking after us.